happenings in Saudi Arabia. And it looks a lot like The Godfather, basically. Okay, it looks essentially like Michael Corleone basically cleaning up events after his dad dies. Right? I mean, Clemens is going around shooting people in elevators. Is basically what's happening here. So over the weekend, all of these events happen. I'm going to tell you the events and then why I think they're happening and what I think is going on. We could be 5 minutes away from a full-on Saudi-Sunni versus Iranian Shia internal Middle East conflict. We could be looking at another war in the Middle East in very short order, and there's a significant possibility the United States ends up dragged into it in some way, so I think it's important stuff. So here's what happened over the weekend. So Saudi Arabia is basically being taken over by a 32-year-old young new prince. This 32-year-old guy is considered a reformer. He is as I say, he is a kid, and he has formed a newly formed anti-corruption committee. Over the weekend, they arrested at least 17 princes and top officials. So they basically went around arresting people. The list includes Prince Al-Walid bin Talal. You've heard his name. He's an investor in Kingdom Holding, which is 95%. He owns 95% of that. It owns stakes in Citigroup, Twitter, Apple, Fox News, right? Well, News Corp, right, which is the parent company of Fox News. After he was arrested, $750 million was wiped off of his fortune on Sunday. At least 38 former current deputy ministers have been arrested on accusations of corruption. CNN has obtained the list of 17 people, including the former head of the royal court, Khaled al-Tuwairi, the Saudi media mogul, a guy named Walid al-Ibrahim, and Prince Turki bin Nasser. Okay, so all of this is basically the new guy coming in and arresting all of the people who could potentially pose a threat to him. Badr Asakar is the bureau manager of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and he tweeted the list of arrested business people. 3 ministers were removed from their positions. Tens of former ministers were detained as part of the new anti-corruption campaign initiated by King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. So the new king, who replaced King Fahd after King Fahd died, his son is basically running the show, and his son is this crown prince that we are talking about, this Mohammed bin Salman, right? Because King Salman is the king over there. So the 3 ministers removed were the economy and planning minister, the National Guard minister, and the naval forces commander. And they said that they needed to do this due to the propensity of some people for abuse, putting their personal interest above public interest and stealing public funds, and will trace and combat corruption at all levels, according to the release. The 32-year-old crown prince does have the authority to investigate, arrest, issue travel bans, freeze the assets of those it finds corrupt. So in the last few months, he has eased some restrictions on women. He's supposedly a modernizer. He's eased some restrictions on women. He's allowed them to drive, for example. And he has vowed to destroy, quote, extremist ideologies in a bid to return to a more moderate Islam. So he's considered a reformer, and he is making some moves. Okay, so what are some of the other moves that he's making? I mean, it's really astonishing, all the stuff that happened over the weekend. It's really kind of creepy and astonishing at the same time. Prince Mansour bin Mukrin is the deputy governor of Asir province, which is a major province in Saudi Arabia. He's returning from an inspection tour when his aircraft was downed near Aba late on Sunday, according to the Interior Ministry. He is dead, 7 other officials dead in this helicopter crash. Why does that matter? Because this guy is basically the lead rival to this Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So it's obviously an attempt to cement power. If you know, this is suspicious as it looks. This particular province exists on the kind of southernmost tip of Saudi Arabia. Yemen exists just to the south. We'll talk about Yemen in just a second because that's you know, important too, and there's news out of there as well. Basically, this guy's father, the guy who was just killed, I mean, it looks like, I would say, suspicion is that he was murdered. You know, helicopters don't randomly go down in the middle of a purge. This guy's father was the lead rival to King Salman. So Prince Mansour bin Mukrin was kind of the next heir to the throne if the other guy had gotten picked. Okay, so that's another thing that's happened. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is accusing Yemen of firing an Iranian ballistic missile into Saudi Arabia over Riyadh. Okay, so they're essentially saying that there was Iranian technology in this missile fired from Yemen into the heart of Saudi Arabia. They said they intercepted a ballistic missile over the capital, according to CNN, and now they are accusing the Iranian government of having provided the technology that was in that missile. Now, Saudi Arabia and Iran have been in basically a proxy war in Yemen for at least a couple of years here. It was the U.S.-made Patriot system that shot down the missile. There have been about 14,000 civilian casualties in Yemen, 5,000 people killed from the beginning of the fighting until late August. And again, Saudi Arabia has been very active because they are concerned with being surrounded by an Iranian proxy on their southern border. So this also looks like, more provocation. And finally, this is the final piece of Saudi Arabia news. Then I'm going to explain what exactly the hell is going on here, because this is all very mysterious, and it does have some significant ramifications for the United States. The Lebanese prime minister is a guy named Saad Hariri. Okay, his father was murdered by the Iranians, basically. His father was killed, I believe it was in 2005, by the Iranians. And there have been basically a couple of revolutions, one called the Cedar Revolution that was a response to the Iranian presence in Lebanon. Lebanon is a country, for those who don't know, just to the north of Israel and just to the west of Syria. It has basically become a Syrian proxy state, an Iranian proxy state. But the Cedar Revolution was an attempt to move Iran out of Lebanon. And in the meantime, what has basically happened is that the new prime minister is a guy named Saad Hariri, who, again, he's a Sunni guy. He's not Shiite like the Iranians, and he has formed a coalition government involving Hezbollah as well. Well, now that is breaking up. So the Lebanese Prime Minister Saad Hariri resigned on Saturday during a trip to Saudi Arabia. He said his life was in danger. It created a leadership vacuum in Lebanon. Hariri said he feared an assassination plot, accused Iran of meddling in the region, causing devastation and chaos. He said Iran controls the region and the decision-making in both Syria and Iraq. I want to tell Iran and its followers it will lose in its interventions in the internal affairs of Arab countries. And the Iranians are accusing the Saudi Arabian government and President Trump.
Make a throw go up my leg like Obama, but that's for different reasons. It's for different reasons. I mean, no one finds her sexually attractive. Her husband doesn't even find her sexually attractive. But I think that she's a wonderful, wonderful woman who must never be criticized in any way, any possible way. Here's what Mazio around to say.
First of all, an overall sort of aesthetic, historic assessment. When Christie was up there with that very rough justice, I might put it, of Hillary Clinton, and he kept saying, in each case, I'm going to ask you for your verdict. It did remind me of them old Swords and Sandals movies with the Roman emperor going up or down in the Colosseum. But you know what? And I get the feeling he wanted, if they had said, kill her now, it was almost that bloodthirsty. It was like this stuff. And the audience, as requested, responded always with the verdict of guilty. And they said it in a blood-curdling way every time.
It's blood-curdling. I mean, it reminded me of this one time when I was down in Venezuela, and I saw a cockfight. And I don't know why I was there or what I was doing. I was really drunk at the time. But I can explain to you that whenever the chicken was really wounded, I would just go up or down, up or down. And that's what I also do with my thumb sometimes with a pie. I just go home and I go up or down, and then I suck my thumb and it tastes delicious. But let me just tell you, after I get in here and I comb my hair with a shoe, and come out, as they say, you tuck down in Capehart, then it really is important that these people not be so bloodthirsty. I mean, yeah, the Republicans are all criminals and they should all go to jail and die. But the Democrats are the Democrats, they don't deserve this treatment. They're wonderful people. They're great. Hillary's wonderful. She's great. Not only that, they treat her like it was a witch hunt. Like it was a witch hunt, like it was Salem. Like it was a Salem witch hunt. Like they're gonna throw her in the lake and then see if she floats or swims. Ha! And we're gonna take her, we're gonna throw her in the lake, we're gonna see if she floats or swims, and if she floats, that means she's a witch, and if she sinks, that means she's innocent. Ha! Chris Mazio, I'm going to see you. Go, Chris, go.
I mean, I was thinking tonight, in this festival of hating Hillary tonight, this brewing up of almost a witch-like ritual tonight, I kept thinking, wait a minute, they already hate Hillary.
Yeah.
So what's the point? And does this get to the middle-of-the-road voters saying, you know, I'm worried about my kids, my kids, I may have all kinds of issues, but none of them really relate to how much I hate Hillary. They relate to other things. I know these people are all imperfect. I know Hillary's got this credibility problem, but I only got a choice here. How does this make me like Trump anymore?
She's got I understand she's got a discredibility, discombobulability problem. I get it. Okay, so the reason, Chris, let me explain to you why people are angry. The reason people are angry is because people like you have been dismissing the fact that Hillary Clinton is deeply corrupt for as long as some of us have been alive. Right, for longer than you've had that current hairline, you've been doing that. And Chris Matthews, this is why. You want to see why? Here is why. Here is Chris Matthews.
What is an easier thing for these delegates to do in the next 3 days?
Yeah.
To find evil in Hillary Clinton or good in Donald Trump? It's far easier.
Well,
they go after
unifying. It's easier to unify.
They go after everything. Rudy Giuliani went way back, you know, to something to do with the listening posts in Eastern Europe. You know, our anti-ballistic missile systems to say that she's basically not to be trusted. They reach for things about Hillary to say, oh, she let her emails get exposed to hacking, blah blah blah. And then of course she was responsible for what happened in Benghazi because of dereliction of duty. But try to get them to find the fervor